Rebound Indiana, our initiative here at WRTV to highlight the people and the programs that are working together to meet your needs during the pandemic. On the west side, we found a food pantry and two individuals, Lauren, as you know, working together who are also dreaming big.
And Raphael, even years after their deaths, the Lord's Pantry at Anna's house is working to achieve that dream of caring for our poor.
Nicest guy in the world, really. I'm not going to go just doing the Lord's work.
And he said, I have to feed these people. They need somebody to speak for them.
Those people were those in need in Indianapolis. Lucius Newsom stood out in his signature bib overalls, and he stood tall in his beliefs as the beggar for the poor worked tirelessly to feed the people.
He's teaching, not only feeding, he's teaching the younger generation that you give, just give.
That was the case in 2006 as Lucius opened the Lord's Pantry at Anna's house on the corner of Elder and New York, dedicated to his friend, Anna Malloy.
If a little girl in a wheelchair with a trach and mechanical ventilation could be here serving, none of us had an excuse not to serve somewhere.
Julie Malloy continues working at the pantry today.
Anna was my daughter.
And even though her daughter and Lucius died in 2008, their mission to serve is living on in this special place.
But we're a pretty small place, trying to make a big impact.
And the need is growing with COVID-19.
So our families drive up. We load their car with as much as we possibly can. You know, I'd like to say that the need of the community is diminishing, but it's not. And we're seeing more and more families every week that are coming from outside of the area.
Julie says serving at the pantry gave her purpose in her daughter's passing. Volunteers serve more than 200 families each week, focusing on fresh produce, meats, and breads. Though the pandemic has changed the way they serve families on the west side, she is inspired by the families in need who also volunteer to help their neighbors. Good stewards like Anna and Lucius.
Together they were serving a community, and the two of them just built this crazy little friendship.
Together, they dreamed big dreams, and they didn't let physical differences get in the way of what their hearts hoped to do here.
He was just like this, he was this huge black man that just had a love for everyone. And Anna was a little teeny tiny thing. It was like polar opposites of people. You know, you had big and little, you had black and white, you had young and old. But they didn't see any of that in one another. They just saw, here's my friend. Here's somebody I can work alongside and make a difference.
In this time of great uncertainty, with a global pandemic and racial unrest, maybe we could all look to Lucius and Anna for a little clarity.
I think if we stopped looking at ourselves and looked outwardly, we'd truly see who people were.
And if we put our differences aside, together, we can change lives.
They didn't define people as anything but God's creatures.
So how can you help continue this mission? How can all of us help? Julie tells me they do need volunteers, and they just recently reopened their online portal after closing it down temporarily due to COVID-19. There's also always a financial need to help purchase the food as well. For more ways to give and volunteer, you can just click on this story. It's on our website, WRTV.com/rebound.